Good
Good
day.
day.
My
My
name is
name is
Mona
Mona
Maghanoy, and
Maghanoy,
I'm
and
from
I'm
the
from the
College of
College of
Human
Human
Kinetics in the
Kinetics in the
University of
University
the
of the
Philippines.
Philippines.
Today,
Today,
I'm
I'm
going to
going to
share with
share with
you
you
the
the
initiatives on
initiatives on
physical
physical
education
education
and the
and the
promotion of
promotion of
physical
physical
activity
activity
in
in
our
our
country.
country.
I have prepared this slide along with Professor Oscar Santelices, my supervisor, and we are both from the College of Human Kinetics in the University of the Philippines. Our country is an archipelago composed of 7,107 islands. We are located in Southeast Asia. We are a country rich in biodiversity, and at the same time, we are a culturally diverse country. You can see the influences of the different nationalities that occupied our country in our appearance, in our culture. We are known as the Pearl of the Orient. We are famous for our colorful jeepneys and our export, the Philippine mango. In terms of health, we have a total population of 98,394,000. Then the number one cause of mortality are diseases of the heart. More than half of the deaths in the Philippines is due to non communicable diseases. And in a study looking at certain factors, it was seen that mean blood pressure, dyslipidemia, and diabetes increased from 2003 and 2008. This was done by the Philippine Association for the Study of Overweight and Obesity. And here you can see the Filipino Pyramid Activity Guide, okay, that was released in 2000. Now, our children, most of our population is under the age of 15. I mean, 30% of our population is under the age of 15. Accidents and pneumonia are the leading cause of mortality from ages 1 to 9, while diseases of the heart are seen to be the third leading cause of mortality between the ages of 10 to 13. A recent study by Department of Health looked at the incidence of childhood obesity from 1993 to 2005, and it was seen that there was a higher prevalence in students in the upper socioeconomic status, especially in the urban areas. Here you can see the profile of our children. 8.6% are wasting, while 9.1% are overweight in children ages 5 to 10. In children ages 10 to 19, 12.4% are wasting, while 8.3% are overweight. In adults 20 years old and above, 3 out of 10 Filipinos are overweight or obese. This is from the Food and Nutrition Research Institute and the Department of Science and Technology. To give you a background of the physical education in the Philippines, most schools have an hour of PE per week, and is administered by either a licensed teacher specializing in MAPE or Music, Arts, PE, and Health, a graduate of physical education, or a graduate of sports science. In 2016, we are entering the K 12 system. To give you an overview of that system, you can see that the emphasis is on health optimizing PE. In kinder to grade 6, physical literacy is the goal. And from grade 7 to grade 12, it is the development of practicing being active for life. Now, this presentation will look at the relevant initiatives on research, practice, and dissemination. Here is an overview of the content. It is my job to share with you three of these. The first one is in terms of research. This is the assessment of motor skill development, self perceptions, and physical activity in a group of school age children. Now, we Filipinos love basketball. You will see hoops, you will see basketball courts anywhere in the Philippines. Anywhere, literally anywhere. And right now, we're also beginning to love volleyball. Now, we partnered with one of the nation's top basketball skill centers for children. And our framework in working with this is physical literacy, the idea of physical literacy where a child is competent to move. And if he's competent to move, he will be motivated to move and he'll be confident to move. And in order to assess this, we looked at the effect of the skill program, the BEST program, on the fundamental motor skills, self perceptions, and the physical activity levels of the program participants in Quezon City. We had 45 children in a basketball and a volleyball skills clinic. We had several measures. The first one is a motor skills assessment tool, which was the test of gross motor development. It had a locomotor scale and an object manipulation scale, and we set up stations. We used high speed cameras to record the movement of the children, and then three members of the research team scored these off the site and established the inter-rater reliability. For the psychological measures, we used the profile of mood states for children. We used the self perception profile for children as well. And in assessing the physical activity of these kids, we used the physical activity questionnaire for children. Here is an overview of the data gathering. As you can see, there is an area for the demographic data to be collected. And as you can see, the members of the research team assisted the children in answering the questionnaires for the psychological measures. In the other pictures, you see members of the research team in the different stations assessing motor skill, and they use high-speed cameras to collect this data. Now, what were our findings? For the assessment of motor skills, there was no significant change in gross motor quotient in the basketball group. There was a significant change, however, in the gross motor quotient in the volleyball group, and this was most likely due to a significant increase in locomotor skills. For the psychological measures, no significant difference was found in mood states or self perception before and after the program. And the same can be said for the physical activity level. There was no significant difference in the activity levels of the participants before and after the program. Now, despite these non-significant findings, this study is significant because it is an exploratory study to refine our methods as part of a long-term plan to assess motor skill development and physical literacy in our children in the Philippines. It is also pioneer work as most assessments still use fitness tests, which may not be as appropriate in the assessment of children and how they move. And lastly, in this study, we used a special kind of technology, the high-speed cameras, which is not usually employed for data gathering in the Philippines as of now. Okay. Moving on, I want to share with you in terms of practice using Philippine games for physical education. Now, the purpose of games is to help children apply the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor skills they have acquired to become competent and knowledgeable. And I believe that our task as PE teachers is to provide experiences that allow this to happen. Now, most PE teachers in the Philippines have played these Philippine games in their childhood, and it gets us excited to share our childhood through these games in order to motivate our kids to continue being active and to engage in games in PE. Now, Philippine games are very varied. It depends on what island you're on, um, but there are similarities or central themes. The thing about Philippine games is that most of the materials you need are easily acquired because they are from the environment, they are recycled, you can modify them, and there is a whole lot of games to choose from depending on what you want to impart to the kids at a certain stage in your PE class. Now, the nature of games, it always brings us back childhood memories of playing for long hours in the streets or in school, which can be associated with our idea of fun. These games have a lot to offer in terms of social development, and more importantly, games can be modified to fit us or to fit the participants of the game rather than fitting these games to the participants. Now, Philippine games have varied origins and they are very interesting as a PE because it also ties in the idea of the Filipino culture. Our games usually are derived largely from manipulative skill themes such as traveling, chasing, fleeing, and dodging. They involve strategy in making decisions and they involve engaging in responsible behavior. One of the special features of the Philippine games is modifications or variations. The games can be modified to increase the level of excitement, to challenge the players, to accommodate all players, and to eliminate idleness, and to apply more appropriate mechanics if the original ones don't work. And it can also combine aspects of different games. Now, these are the components of the games which one can modify. As PE teachers, we think about a game that would keep everyone involved. Games work best when all the students are interested, and the game should be a friendly competition. It's either students would compete as a team or individually. Now, here are some possible activities that could be done in the elementary, the high school, and the college level. In the higher levels, there's always a time for students to invent their own games and teach them to their classmates. Now, in Philippine games, the emphasis really is on enjoying the game. The end score does not need to be emphasized always. Here is just here are pictures of my students engaging in the Philippine Games tournament. They are very much involved, very much engaged in the activity. They said that they would like to take the PE over and over again because of the enjoyment that they derive from it and the other benefits that they get from joining this PE. Now, this has become a movement in the Philippines, not only in the schools, they are promoting it in the communities, even in the corporate setting, bringing back the idea of the Philippine Games and promoting physical activity as well as culture. Finally, let me share with you the story of the National Conference on Sport Pedagogy, which we started in 2012. Now, before 2012, the physical educators in the Philippines rarely had an opportunity to convene, to learn from each other, and update themselves on best practices. And then the Department of Education announced that the Philippines would follow the K 12 educational system. There was a possibility that there will be no PE in higher education. So, in response, the College of Human Kinetics of the premier state university in the Philippines decided to bring together all the PE teachers and sports science practitioners all over the country to band together and start a movement in order to uplift the profession. Thus, the National Conference on Sport Pedagogy was born. Now, this conference was a brainchild of our dean, our current dean, Ronaldo Deezer, along with Professor Oscar Santelices and other department chairs. Um, we also got the endorsement from the Department of Education and the Commissioner on Higher Education. In 2012, we looked at scientific pedagogical trends and approaches in physical education and sports science towards the 21st century. In 2013, our theme was evidence based teaching towards a collaborative practice of sports science and physical education in the Philippines. And in this year, a new organization specifically for PE teachers and sports science practitioners was born. In 2014, our theme was on best practices in movement education to develop champions for life, and we were able to invite international speakers to share their knowledge and expertise. Now, this initiative has created a snowball effect felt by the profession. Every year, more than 500 participants strong, the NCSP provides an opportunity for all PE teachers to learn from experts and from each other, to remember why they have chosen their profession, and to be ever more passionate advocates of a healthy and active lifestyle. That's all from the Philippines. Salamat po.